Hello, this video is for oh gosh, where are we at? Week 10? Are we already at week 10? Yeah, this is week 10. This is my week 10 video overview for my 11th grade junior students. So I'll be going over what we'll be learning this week. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, so if you open up Canvas, okay, you'll see something that looks like this. And you'll go to modules, and we're going to continue our work in module 3. Now, in the first lesson of the module, we identified theme and poetry, but you'll find that as we move forward through the module, we're going to be identifying the theme in a radio broadcast. So if you go ahead and click 3.2.0, you'll see our learning goals for this lesson, as well as the content standards that you'll be learning. And on the first page, you'll see a short lesson that goes over identifying theme. All right, and so just remember that when we talk about theme, we're talking about the main underlying message from a story or from a poem, or in our case, from a radio broadcast. And this is the message that is the moral to the story. This is the message that gives us something about human nature that we can apply to our own lives. It gives us some information about that. So oftentimes, you'll find that main idea, that main message in a story, and this is what the writer is trying to communicate to their readers. This is the lesson that the author wishes to give. And sometimes there can be more than one theme in a story. Okay, for example, if you're looking at The Lion King, okay, there are multiple themes in The Lion King. One is be true to yourself. Another theme in The Lion King is that, there's this circle to life, that there is a beginning and an end, and then it starts over again. Another theme that we can see in The Lion King is that, life is hard sometimes, and, we just need to not run away and face our challenges head on. Understand that themes are universal. All right, themes tell us things about human nature. They tell us things about society. They work to build a better community and a better society. And themes are not always specific to the story. In fact, they're never specific to the story. Okay, a theme is a message behind a story. A theme is what you can base a story upon. But if you start mentioning things like names and characters and places in your theme when I ask you to give me a thematic statement, you're doing it wrong. Okay, themes, if they're good, they should sound like something that you would read in a fortune cookie that doesn't tell you your fortune. Okay, and you know those fortune cookies, we've all had them before. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, if I'm asking for just a one word theme, what I'm asking for is a thematic subject. I'm asking for a topic. And so, of course, if you look in the next slide's presentation here, we have several one-word topics that we can apply to different stories. We can have stories about honesty, stories about family, love, fear, achievement. But you guys are in high school now, and your high school teachers and your college teachers, when they ask you about a theme, they're asking for a thematic statement. They're asking for a message. They're asking for that fortune cookie level, moral to the story that can explain something about human nature and about life. And so you can see in 3 examples right here. If you've watched the Wonder Woman movie, you know that the thematic topic relates to courage. Now, if you watch the movie, the overall thematic statement, okay, the statement they would get on your fortune cookie that tells no fortune, is that even in spite of overwhelming adversity, a courageous person can change the world. And you're hitting it right if it sounds like something that you can find in a Hallmark card. Okay, same thing with The Martian. Its one word topic may be about perseverance, but the overall movie, touches upon the theme that when challenges arise, it's our responsibility as human beings to rise to the challenge. The Wizard of Oz is an example of a movie that has multiple themes. And so their topics are related to home and family, and you might be able to pull themes away from this, like home is where your heart is at, and home is where you make it. Now, you have to be really careful. This is an example of a cliche, and you want to stay away from cliches. You want to use your own words and your own thinking when it comes to identifying theme. But, it's really hard not to do that. I won't give you a hard time if you do. So, questions that you can ask yourself when I ask you to identify a theme. You can ask what the message is that you're supposed to be taking away from the text, okay? What is the author wanting you to take away from their story, okay? If you're not quite sure what the theme is, think about the characters. Think about the way that they've grown or that they've changed. Because oftentimes in that struggle, you'll learn something else important about your own life. Okay, for example, from Harry Potter, we see Harry grow up into an adult throughout his 7 years at Hogwarts. And each year he grows and he changes in some special way. So, for example, his first year, we learned, according to, the theme of the story, we learned that friendship is an important part of our lives and it makes it more meaningful. And so we saw Harry Potter grow and, gain more friendships throughout his experiences in his first year of Hogwarts. And we can apply his growth to our own lives when we're thinking about the theme. Oftentimes, your readers, too, will use a lot of repetition. And they use repetition because there's a point they're trying to make for you. And they'll do this in ways like using imagery. They might use symbolism. They might have a symbol that pops up every once in a while. Okay, think about the Mockingjay in the Hunger Games. Okay, the Mockingjay represents freedom and, flight. And you can definitely attach a theme there, for fighting for your own freedom or seeking your own justice. Consider the character's dialogue. Consider all those little clues that the writer puts in the story to find your theme. And also consider the passages of the text that seem really important. And oftentimes in the stories, we'll see that characters might have an internal monologue. They might have an internal struggle that they spend a lot of time thinking about. And, pay attention to that, because oftentimes you'll find your theme hidden in their own conflict. And so, that's just a few gentle reminders about how theme works. And if you go to the next page, you'll see that we're going to take a step away from theme and focus a little bit more on the technical parts of putting together a radio drama. Because remember, we're going to be reading a radio drama. We're going to be reading and listening to it at the same time. And so it's important that you understand the elements of a strong radio drama before we jump right into it. And so what's great about this video is, this gentleman right here, he goes over those qualities of a good radio play, familiarize with those characteristics. Down here, you'll see a document. And I'll go ahead and make a copy of this. And it is your job to fill out a checklist. So watch the video. And you might also have to think outside of the box. You might have to think outside of the video. But think about all the radio that you've listened to, all the podcasts that you've listened to. What are the characteristics of those programs which make it great? Because radio dramas, they're a purely audio artistic form. We have nothing to see. And so everything that we picture inside of our brains takes place inside of our brains. And so what tools do these folks that create these dramas, what tools do they use to make their audio more meaningful and more impactful? And so, you'll just have to write down examples of the technical parts, of the technical bits. Like, for example, music. Music is a big part of podcast and radio drama. And so you'll just write that right there. Music, intro, outro, ambiance, that kind of thing. And so when you're ready, you'll turn it in right here. But this is not the last we're going to see of the checklist. As we continue reading the radio drama, we'll go back to this, we'll review it, and we'll check off how many times, we see Orson Welles use these tools in his radio drama. So, you'll turn that in here, and then you'll go to the next page. And this is where you will listen to the War of the Worlds broadcast. So, this is one YouTube video that has the broadcast for us. And you have to be careful because you'll just want to listen to the whole thing. But I have broken it down into 3 parts. And so the first part that we'll be reading this week takes place in the first 19 minutes and 33 seconds of the 1 hour play. And so I have our first excerpt down here at the bottom. As you're listening, I want you to annotate the script. I want you to follow along in the script as you listen. It's really important that you do both at the same time. And what you'll find is that you'll be highlighting important main ideas. If you see something that might hint to what the theme is, I want you to underline that. I want you to find that. And all you need to do is annotate, highlight, mark up the text. Try to put in at least 7 to 10 comments on the side here, and you'll turn in your annotations, and then you'll work on the next activity. Now, the next activity is a more or less a reading comprehension quiz. This lets me know that you understood the material. This helps me know how well you're reading, and it just asks you the basic reading questions like, how does Orson Welles give the illusion at the start of the play that listeners are hearing a regular radio broadcast program? Okay, how does he construct the setting in his introduction on his first page? Okay, I ask who the characters are in this play and what are their roles in the story. I ask for summaries. These are pretty basic reading questions, and so if you can please fill out these 4 questions and turn them in, you'll be good to go. And I think that's all we have this week. Oh no, I forgot about the discussion. There is one really important discussion that I want you to check out, and this has you considering how Orson Welles uses dead air in the play. Now, when I talk about dead air, I'm talking about radio silence, and it's usually in podcasts and radio plays that silence is a bad thing. Okay, if you have a moment of silence, that's time that you can be spending on presenting a message to your audience. And so if you are going to use silence, you kind of have to use silence as if it's a special effect. Okay, you have to make it really matter. You have to make it impactful. And spoiler alert, Orson Welles does use dead air intentionally in his play. And so when you'll get to that part, and when you get to that part, I want you to tell me why. How did it help the play? How did that silence add to the dramatic effect of the story he's trying to tell? And so, of course, like any discussion, all right, you're going to respond to the prompt. And so the prompt asks, at the end of the first excerpt of War of the Worlds broadcast, Orson Welles uses a moment of silence. Usually silence or dead air is discouraged in broadcasting, but how does this work to improve the quality of this play? Explain. So you'll answer the prompt, and then, of course, you will respond to at least 2 of your classmates' posts. So make sure you do that here. And that's pretty much all that we've got going on this week. Of course, I want you to continue working on your special interest blogs. I've enjoyed reading those so far. Grades are up to date for quarter 1. I know that quarter 1 was tough for all of us, but I want you guys to look optimistically into this coming quarter. The hard part is behind you. You've learned how to do distance learning, and you have no other place to go from here on out than up. So if you do see yourself still struggling, if you're struggling with time management, or if you're struggling just to get things done, please reach out to me, and I would love to help you. So that's about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.